What's up? Got me feeling like an AC. Cruising with the top down, the weather still amazes me. Callie's been good, so I'ma keep taking dates with her. But if she cheat on me, I promise I'ma find better. They say New York's a cold chick with an attitude, that is true. But it's expensive if I had to move, so I might do Texas if I had to choose. A lot of people tell me that there ain't much to do, but shoot, I'm in the mood for a better view. You must be tripping if you think there's not a better you. And I gotta see, you the hottest, but my AZ lady is modest. I know, I think I can find me a better woman. Some girl who defines me as she could be. She knows what's inside me, so myself got me finding that I love Cali. I think I can find me a better woman. Some girl who defines me as she could be. She knows what's inside me, so myself got me finding that I love Cali. Yeah, I know what to, I do it all for Cali. Yeah, I know what to, I lose it all for Cali. Yeah, I know what to, my only girl is Cali. I know what to, cause all I love is Cali.
I got this girl California, hey. Everybody wants to meet her cause it hurts she's paid. When you get close enough, you can't help but stay. I could cheat a little bit, but I'm back the next day. But my girl Envy is the one I see. When I need to get away, she's the one for me. But she's way too hot, yo, she love flashing lights. I can only keep pace if I stay a few nights. But it's cool, cause I got 48 more to y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is another episode of the C&J Sports and Beer Podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight, or joining myself tonight. We have a great show for you, a solo show if I might add. You all know me as Charlie. I'm here alone tonight. My boy Jared decided to go on vacation for the holiday weekend, so I will have a special guest. And this is a special guest, so I'm not going to drop any clues on who it may be. It'll be an audio only special guest, so only audio, no video for tonight. But I have a great show lined up for you guys. But first, let me tell you that my heart is kind of broken, and I'm feeling a little sad. I'm feeling a little upset. I don't have any affiliation with this team. It was just my preseason pick. And you know me, when I say something, I'm going to do it. And I decided to roll with the Oklahoma City Thunder, not only to win the West, but to win it all. So that's something we'll touch up on later on in the show. But, my heart is heavy right now. Everybody know me. I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fan. You can check the sign back there. I'm not a bandwagon Oklahoma City Thunder fan, but that's just the team that I picked to come out of the West, represent the West, face the Cleveland Cavaliers in the East, win the championship to keep Kevin Durant and Westbrook together. But like I said, that's something we'll get to later on in the show. It's just my heart is a little heavy. So now that we got that out of the way, my weekend, when me and Jared are together, we always ask, yo, how was your weekend? What did you do? How did you enjoy it? Did you spend it with family? Did you do this? Did you try any new beer? So for me, I would like to ask you guys, how was your weekend? And granted, I can't get an answer from you, but I hope you had a nice weekend, because I had a great weekend. And my weekend is coming up to a wrap. Tonight will be the end of my weekend. Obviously, today is Memorial Day, so it was a holiday weekend. And I started my weekend off at Old Town Brewing. My plan was to visit the brewery because they're doing this collaboration and promoting this new beer with this restaurant called Tamale Boy. And if you live in Portland, Tamale Boy is a Mexican restaurant. And seeing that I spent 10 years in Southern California, San Diego to Escondido to be exact, I need and I have to almost get my Mexican fix. Whether it's my old lady cooking up some in the kitchen. I mean, we do Taco Tuesday faithfully. Tomorrow we're going to have tacos, although we had Mexican food and a bunch of other food on yesterday. But Taco Tuesday is a staple in the household because, we enjoy Mexican food. But Tamale Boy it's a restaurant with delicious, healthy, and affordable alternate to the usual Mexican fare in Portland. So it's not taco shop-ish. It's not Tijuana-ish. It's not authentic Mexican foodish, but I mean it's kind of upscale. It's affordable, like they said, and it's pretty good. And I can't speak and say it's pretty good, but I've read a lot of reviews and I've spoken to a lot of people who have had food from Tamale Boy and they swear by it. That is legit. And they swear by some other place that's legit, but I don't think it's legit. But I'm not going to put that bad news out there. I'm going to leave it for the individuals in Portland who will get around to try Mexican food to taste that. But I think the cool thing about them, they cook all their ingredients with the best Northwest produce, and they use all local meat, and they offer plenty of vegetarian and vegan options. That's like a big thing for restaurants these days, since so many people are into wanting to have something or have a vegetarian option or a vegan option. And since I work in food service, I understand that's one way to drive your business is to have those options, because there are people out there who aren't vegetarian or vegan, but they just want to try it. But I mean, to get on what my weekend was supposed to be about, I was supposed to go on to Old Town, go to Old Town Brewing with my family, and we were gonna go there to check out this new beer that they were gonna be promoting and putting on. But silly of me, I'm always on point with plans and getting my weekend started and doing the things I want to do. And I read the sign wrong. Boo boo me. I made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? The event was held at Tamale Boy. I thought the event was held at Old Town on MLK. We show up to Old Town Brewing on MLK. Nothing is going on. We got crappy service by a waitress who didn't know what was going on. And the killer is they didn't have the special brew that they were promoting with Tamale Boy at the Northeast location. So that was the start of my weekend. But me and my family, we made the best out of it, and we got our pizza fix. Then we went over to Laughing Planet. Old lady got her something to eat. Me and the boy indulged in some donuts from Blue Star, which I think is hands down the best donut shop in Portland. Forget what everyone says about Voodoo Donuts, boo boo. And we got some ice cream, and we enjoyed our Friday. Um, Saturday was, I would say, the most fun because I was able to go to see Odyssey perform at the Hawthorne Theater. And if you don't know who Odyssey is, you need to get to know who he is. The last 3 years, he's been creating a great buzz for himself as I guess you can say an underground backpack DC go-go music rapper and producer. Last 3 years he's been tearing it up, producing two albums, with raps, lyrics, and I want to say 2 to 3 instrumental albums. And that's how he started off as an individual who just produced instrumentals, not necessarily for people to rap on, but for you to just take in and listen to and enjoy the feel of the music. And shout out to the individual who's going to be the guest tonight for putting me on this individual. It's a great thing because nearly, I want to say 6 to 8 years ago, I was really into music. Wanted to promote my own music and make and create my own music. So it was great to see him perform on Saturday. And this would mark the second time in less than 9 months that he's toured here to Portland, and he's creating a buzz here in this city. So it's a great thing. Sunday, resting day, like it should always be. And now we're here Monday, Memorial Day, and holiday, a day that we should be sitting back, thanking and those individuals who made the ultimate sacrifice by joining the military. But a lot of people think it's about no school, barbecues, family time, and just a break. So that's how I felt years ago before I decided to join the military. And now, years later, I truly understand what Memorial Day is about, but I still think it's about barbecues. I still think it's about now having a day off of work, being around your family, and resting. But when you're doing all those things, still remember about the individuals who sacrificed their life. They may have not been in a position to come back to be with their family. And then you have those individuals that have had the opportunity to come back to be with their family. And you know what? Things just aren't right for them. So, think about those individuals when you're out there having a good time with your family, because, you know, individuals who've lost someone who sacrificed for this country, they would wish they can enjoy the same feeling you're feeling with your family, or the feeling you're having on this day. So that was my weekend in a nutshell. Yeah, that was my weekend. And I guess we can move on. Normally at this part, of the show, we'll get into our best and worst of the weekend. And before I start with that, like I said, I my heart is heavy. My heart is heavy, but I'm gonna be real because I'm a realist, okay? And I guess the best of the weekend for me, and to be honest, and I'm just gonna be honest, a game seven between OKC and Golden State. I mean, that was pretty exciting. A lot of people may have predicted this series will go 7 games. I sure did, only because I just didn't see OKC being in the position they were. I guess you can say 3 games ago. I didn't see them being up in the series 3-1. I didn't see that at all. But I did see them still in the game in Golden State and winning a game seven. That's what I saw in my future because Golden State is too good of a team to just, I guess, get beat by OKC. I mean, they just have too much firepower. But number one, I'm a fan of basketball. I enjoy historic events in regards to basketball. The quest for back to back chips is awesome. 73 wins, awesome. Breaking 3-point records, awesome. Being down 3-1 and forcing a game seven, awesome. So, the best part of the weekend for me was knowing that there would be a game seven because this has been a great series. We have 3 of the top 5 players in the NBA facing off with each other. We have the thought that if Kevin Durant and OKC get bounced, will Kevin Durant be in an OKC uniform next season? You have Steve Curry being with the team half the season, coming back, Coach of the Year, Steph Curry, unanimous MVP. You had a lot of things going on to see that series end. And the way it could have ended, it kind of would have been sour for a lot of people. So my best part of the weekend was knowing that there's going to be a game seven, and all game seven has a lot on the line, and it's a big deal. So that was my best part of the weekend, knowing that a game seven was forced, and there had to be a winner, and we all know who the winner is. If you're watching now, that means you may have stayed up on the East Coast and watch the end results of the game, or on the West Coast, we still have 2.5 hours of this Memorial Day, and you also witnessed Golden State put the beat down on Oklahoma City. Worse, now this is where my heavy heart and my saltiness kick in. The fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder allowed a game seven to be played. So that was the worst part of the weekend. I thought Oklahoma City was going to close those guys out in OKC. I did not think that they would come back to the Bay Area, to Golden State, play another game in Oracle based on the fact they were up 3-1. Now, like I said, obviously, when the season kicked off and I decided that, okay, Oklahoma City is going to represent the West, I did predict that they would either face Golden State or San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals, but it was going to be a 7-game series. And now when you watch the series progress and you saw who was winning, who was losing, and you notice that Oklahoma City was up 3-1, there's no way that I thought it was going to be a game seven. So worst part of the weekend for me is knowing that, okay, game five, you had to give that to Golden State. They have to go back in and perform because they're the defending champions. They have a hell of a team with a hell of a coaching staff, and they're not just going to lay down. But when you go back home in game six, you have to take care of business. And for me, since I wasn't able to watch the game, that made it worse. I was out enjoying a concert with my lady. And then to hear the results through text message, box scores, people talking about it in the establishment I was at, that's what made my weekend extra salty. So there you have it. Best and worst, you know what I'm saying? It's pick your poison. It's the good with the bad, but overall it was a great playoff series. So that's that. Obviously, when we get into our show, we always start off by letting you guys know what we're going to be talking about. And tonight we're going to do a little recap, or I'm going to do a recap on the results from the Eastern Conference Finals. And then we'll get into the results of the Western Conference Finals, which is going to be one of those situations of, I guess you can say, off the top of the head, no notes, because it's hard to prepare for something that you're watching live. All you can do is give those instant results to save someone from watching Sports Center or clicking on an internet link or going up and down Instagram. So you guys are here with me. I'm going to give you my take, and my guest is going to give you his take on tonight's Western Conference Final game. Um, for the most part, I think we're probably going to talk about what does this mean for OKC? How are they going to move on with the thought that KD may bounce? And also, what does this mean for Golden State? You know, they're in a situation where they're going to go up against LeBron James and company, and it's going to be a rematch of last year's final. So that's always interesting. And then our beer of tonight, we had a three beer lineup from a brewery out of Chicago, Illinois, Off Color Brewing. And the first beer, you know, I drank that during the game, but that was like a beer de gar. So it was nice, light, flavory, had a great color on it. But the beer I'm going to drink now, it's it's 7.0 ABV, 24 IBUs. It's called Bear Finish, um, Sati style. Let me get a good pour for you guys. It's been sitting out, so it's kind of headstrong right now, but we're gonna let that settle in. And I've heard good things about this brewery. Being from the Midwest, I have to try all things from the Midwest. So it's good that I'm able to reach out to my bottle shop, John's Market, or the guys over at Belmont Station to keep me laced with great beer that's out of this area. And then the last beer of the night is going to be it's called the Scurry, and it's brewed with honey, molasses, and oats. So it's going to be a little darker than these first two. The first one was very light, but it was strong, 7.8 by ABV, and that was, you know, a beer to guard. They're not usually that strong. Um, and this next one, like I said, it's a 7.0. It's kind of, it's not as dark, but it has like that golden, I guess you can say like a Belgian or a dark ale color to it, with a nice creamy head. That's is just it's kind of heady. So it's probably because, you know, I left it out just a little bit before I kicked off the show. But we're gonna get this glass filled up so you guys can take a look at it. Um, I'm gonna take a sip of this. That's good. That's real good. It's got a lot of head to it, that's for sure. Probably let that settle down a little bit. It's got a lot of head to it. Let that settle down a little bit. And then we're going to get into the show. So, as we all know, and as we all predicted, the Cavs dismantled the entire Eastern Conference. Each team they face, they didn't give them a chance to breathe. They went in and took care of business, and did what they had to do to represent the Eastern Conference in June. I never really underestimated the Cavaliers in getting to the Eastern Conference Final. Only thing I underestimated was the fact: are they going to be able to gel, stick together, and take care of business? Are they going to step on the gas pedal and then decide, you know what, let's take a night off tonight? Are they going to point fingers and blame Kevin Love for not stepping up, or are they going to do things in that locker room to make it seem like the big three on that team can't coexist? And for the most part, they showed us why they're the best team in the East, and they showed us why they're going to represent the East in the NBA Finals. Um, Cavs won the series against the Toronto Raptors. They will face the winner of tonight's Game 7, and we all know the winner of tonight's Game 7 was the Golden State Warriors. So it will be the rematch of the 2015 NBA Finals. Me personally, I was expecting a rematch of the 2012 NBA Finals because, as you know, like I said, I picked the Golden State Warriors to lose to the Thunder, or the Spurs to lose to the Thunder in the West, and the Thunder represent the West and the NBA Finals. But no matter who the Cavs face, it will be tough. And the only reason why I say that, if they would have ended up facing OKC, that would have been a tough match because I still believe and think that um, Westbrook is unguardable. It doesn't matter who you put on him; he's gonna find a way to score. And he proved that against the Spurs. He proved that against Golden State. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean anything because they're going to be packing their bags and taking an early summer vacation, and the Warriors are going to be moving on. But I thought that would have been a great series to see how well Tyronn Lue and those guys would defend Westbrook, because I think he would have had a field day had the Thunder beat the Golden State Warriors and moved on to play in the NBA Finals. Now, I guess you can say it's getting kind of dicey, and it's going to be interesting in a sense that last year when the Cavs played in the NBA Finals, they didn't have two stars on that team. Um, and Golden State was getting flack that they faced a broken down Cavaliers team, that only person they had to lean on and depend on was LeBron James. Um, so now you have the big three of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then you also have the big 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 of the Golden State Warriors, because they come out loaded and they come out ready to play. So it's going to be tough for the Cavs. And the fact that they've had, I guess you can say, most teams laid all the way down for them. And that's no disrespect, but that's just what it looked like. It looked like the teams knew they were outmatched, and knew that it was over for them. So instead of them going out and trying their hardest to beat the Cavs, they did a lot of things to beat themselves. And that kind of stink. But the East is I don't want to say it's trash because these are professional NBA players, but it's just not great. So once you get away from the top two, and some people think the number one team in the East is just no competition. So in my opinion, it doesn't matter who the Cavs face, whether it would have been the Golden State Warriors, the Oklahoma City Thunder, or even the Spurs. It was going to be tough for them based on the fact their road to the NBA Finals. It wasn't difficult. Now there were nights where it was difficult, but then they will follow up the next night and blow teams out, sweep teams, or just treat teams like they're nothing. So I think this is a series that's going to keep us on the edge of our seats and also keep us guessing and wondering what's going to happen next based on how well the Cavaliers have played throughout the season, how well they played in the Eastern Conference, and how well the Golden State Warriors have played the last 2 years. So that's going to be great. Um, LeBron James has voiced his opinion on the Warriors, whether it was good, was bad, passive aggressive. Some people said he was throwing shade. Some people said he was hating. Whatever you want to call it, LeBron James isn't feeling the Warriors. And he didn't enjoy losing to the Warriors last season. So LeBron James he has a chip on his shoulder. And he has something to prove. And this will be his sixth NBA Finals, his sixth straight NBA Finals. And he's currently 2-4 in the NBA Finals. So I don't think he want to fall to 2-5. 13 years in the league, 2 championships. It's not a great resume if you look at it from that standpoint. And since we always look at players based on the number of championships, the amount of time he's been able to play in a game to possibly win a championship, and the amount of wins versus the amount of losses he's received. And I mean, you can't put all blame on him because he was a part of a few teams that they needed more than LeBron James to win. But still, that record doesn't change anything. He's still 2-5. And I'm sure he wants to move on, win that third championship, bring a championship to Cleveland, and how can I put it? Smack the Golden State Warriors in their face and let the people know that, hey, I'm LeBron James. I'm still around. Granted, Steve Kerr is a great coach. Steph Curry is nice at what he does. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and those boys, they're also good. They're great. They're all-stars, but I'm still the best player the most valuable player in the NBA, not just on a team, but in the NBA. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited to see what will unfold for LeBron James and the Cavs. They're healthy. They have depth. They have good coaching. I mean, from the time David Black was fired up until now, they've had good coaching. And do I think the Cavs have what it takes to win the championship? Maybe. Do I think Golden State has what it takes to win the championship? Yes. They proved that to us by winning 3 straight games. And that's something I didn't see happen possible, but it happened. And I'm still butthurt and my heart is heavy, but it happened. Um, so, I didn't cover anything in that series with the Cavs winning, but I do want to speak just a little bit on Toronto. And for them, it was a great season. It was a great season for them. They have a great core. Um, it's looking like they're planning on keeping their coach, extending him. Contract details are still in the mix. 56 plus win season, 3 playoff appearances in 5 years with him under or over that team and leading them. And I think for them as an organization, their number one goal should be to just try to lock up DeRozan. Don't let him get away. And what I mean, don't let him get away. Seriously, don't let him get away. Teams out there with money to spend, don't spend money on him. And I'm saying this to Laker Nation because his name is always coming in the mix of those supposedly, top tier free agent for the Lakers to sign. And I thought he was a great player throughout the season. I still think he's a great player, but I just don't think he's box office. I don't think he's a superstar. He may be an all-star, but he just doesn't seem like the type of person I would want on my team, only because the consistency isn't there. But he has been a focal point for the Toronto Raptors. So, Toronto, do whatever you can do to keep him in Canada. Don't let him leave. Don't let him leave and go to any team that has money to spend. I'm not knocking him, brother, for getting his money. I'm just saying, Toronto, please do not let him leave. Keep him. So that should be their number one goal. They should try their best to lock up DeMar DeRozan. After that, for what it's worth, and this is starting to blow my mind because my boy Jared he gave me a lot of crap last season when I was saying, Cavs, they need to sign Tristan Thompson. Pay the man, pay the man, pay the man. And now he received his money. The season has passed. And I can look back and say, maybe I was wrong. Maybe he wasn't worth the amount of money that he was paid. But now that I know the mistake that I made last season, I'm not going to make that same mistake this season. So when I say this, for what it's worth, Raptors, if you have to overspend to keep Biyombo, do what you have to do. But me, as crazy as it sounds, since I'm all about guys getting paid, don't pay him. He has an upside. He looks like he can be a great defender, but the guy's giving you 5 points. And one thing they needed, not throughout the series with the Cleveland Cavaliers, but just throughout the playoffs, they needed a guy that could score. And unlike in Golden State, unlike at OKC, Westbrook, Durant, Clay, Curry, they're not both going to have bad games. I mean, they'll have a bad game, but it won't be as bad of the games that both DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry both had. And to be in that situation where your stars on your team have bad games and you don't have anyone else to step up, you need someone that can score. And if you have to end up paying Biyombo the amount of money that the Cavs had to end up paying Tristan Thompson, then you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. So goal number one, make sure you keep DeRozan. For me, number two, for what it's worth, if you have to pay Biyombo, do it. If you don't have to pay him, don't do it. But make sure you keep him because I think he can be a great piece for that team. I would say another thing would be for them to get healthy. Carroll was banged up throughout the season. And then my man Jonas, I call him JV because his last name is so hard to pronounce. He was banged up towards the end of the playoff during that run against the Cavs. although he still played, I mean, you want your players to be 100%. For me, Biombo, DeRozan, lock them in, get healthy, and you will have time to get healthy this offseason. Look to sign some key role players. I mean, they need role players because outside of Lowry and DeRozan, they don't really have guys that will go in there and give them quality minutes, score buckets, play some outstanding defense on the best defenders on the opposite team. Now, Carroll was supposed to be that guy, but like I said, he was injured majority of the season. So without him being healthy, he can't go out there and do the things he did for the Hawks. Um, you guys have six, or they have six guys coming off their books. So it would be good for them to keep two of those guys. They should keep the hometown boy who's originally from Portland. They should keep Terrence Ross on that team. I like what he has to offer. I mean, when he's out there, he's getting touches. He gives you quality minutes and he score. And I'm sure he can develop as a decent post or wing defender against maybe, the best player on the opposing team. I would also say, like I said, lock up Biombo. He would be two of the individuals that those two would be the two individuals that I would try to sign and keep in a uniform since you have six guys falling off. Um, I'm not 100% sure what Toronto needs, but if you have six guys coming off your books, you need to lock up two, and two of those individuals are a part of that six. Now you have four spots open. And I mean, I think it would be great for them to go out and find a good vet that can give you quality minutes and score, because that's something they're going to need on those nights where both Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, they just can't score. And it's been like that since the beginning of the season with those two guys. I mean, they were, top five in the best backcourt in the NBA, but as top five talent as in terms of backcourt, they had nights of inconsistency. And that's just something that I paid attention to because I watched and followed a lot of what they were doing only because I wanted to keep my eyes on DeMar DeRozan because I knew the Los Angeles Lakers would be have him in their radar. He would be a target for the Lakers. And now, after watching the start of the NBA season, the midpoint to the end, throughout the playoffs, I think the Lakers should stay far away from him. And outside of a good vet, I think, a great young sixth man, that threat that can come off the bench and he could just score. He may not be able to play great defense, but he can get out there and score. And like I said, they only have two, in my eyes, two, since Carroll didn't play the entire season. So they only have two. He was supposed to be the third. So if he's supposed to be the third, you need to get at least two more guys on that team that could score. A vet that can score and someone coming off the bench. And, maybe, just maybe they may be back in a position they were this season, next season. But I mean, I think that's going to be something Toronto is going to have to do. So at the end of the day, everyone is preparing to beat the Cavs. And as long as LeBron James is in the East, that's they're going to have to prepare to beat the Cavs until he leaves the Cavs or he leaves the East. I don't see the Raptors falling out of the mix unless they fall out of the mix on keeping DeMar DeRozan. If they keep him in Toronto the following year, they're going to have to work out something with Kyle Lowry. But if they can lock Terrence Ross, Biombo, DeMar DeRozan in, then I don't think it'll be hard for them to keep Kyle Lowry up in Toronto. And like I said, they continue to build. But they don't want to totally fall off the cliff and never return. They don't want to do something like the Houston Rockets did. Houston Rockets was at the top of their game last season, went into the playoffs, came back, did to the Clippers like Golden State did to OKC, made it to the Western Conference Finals, lost to a better team. And this season, they just totally fell apart. At times, I kind of forgot that the Houston Rockets were a team. If it wasn't for James Harden going off and being on SportsCenter top 10 or doing something amazing, a triple-double here, or 40 points, 12 assists, this and that, then I would have honestly forgot that the Houston Rockets were in the NBA. So if the Raptors can keep their core together, I think they could possibly win another 55 plus games. And Drake, the Blue Jays can't be the only thing popping in Toronto. So that's my take on the Eastern Conference Finals and what unfolded. We're gonna go on a short break. I'm gonna finish this tasty beer here because I got another one coming up for you guys, and then we're gonna have our guests coming on. And in this next segment, we're gonna be speaking off the top of the dome what happened in the Western Conference Finals with OKC and what do we have to look for in the NBA finals between the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So take a moment, listen to this track, and we'll be back in a second. Okay. We're back. Waiting for my guests to link into the Hangout real quick. But I received a text message because my video was shared via Facebook, and someone wanted to know what kind of shirt I have on. This here, I'm gonna let you see it. See a little bit of that. You can hear me. Let me stand up so you can catch a little bit of that. But tonight's apparel is brought to you by Secret Level Clothing. And Secret Level Clothing is brought to you by the same individual who brought you haiku wear. I don't wear anything. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I will support, and I will always support local. I will support my home state. I will support friends, and I will support family. And the designer and the artist of this shirt, as well as the sports jerseys that I wore when I was playing adult league basketball, is my homeboy Randy. And he's been in the, I guess you can say, clothing and apparel He's an artist. He's been doing this for about 20 years, maybe more than that. He resides in Oceanside, California. So if you want to see more of his work, if you want to see more of what he can do and what he has done, you can always follow him on Instagram at Haikuwear, or you can jump on my Facebook profile, my personal Facebook profile, and just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. You'll see it. You'll see it. If not, I'll share it. Or you can just go up to your search button and you can search Secret Level Clothing. Please support this guy. I've only seen, and I think I will only see him produce great threads. And this shirt is one of them. And if I'm not mistaken, this shirt was like a collaboration thing he did with Star Wars. And it was like Empire Strikes Back. So it's the whole Star Wars thing. The reason why I'm not 100% sure because I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I watch Star Trek, and I think Star Trek is every time I say I've watched Star Trek growing up, people look at me like I'm an old man. So that's what was on in my grandmother's house. Star Trek was on, Star Wars wasn't on. He also have a Deadpool signature shirts as well. They have an Amazon store. So, like I said, if you want to follow what he has going on with Haiku Wear, jump on Instagram. Um, if you want to check out Secret Level Clothing, hop on Facebook. If you just want to go buy something and support my homeboy Randy, go ahead. They have an Amazon store. Amazon store, just search for Secret Level Clothing. Or you can follow me on, I guess I would say, Twitter or a Tumblr page. And then you can see that info there. We'll make sure that info is up. So whoever hit up a friend of mine who's watching the show, because now we're about 30, 40 minutes in, we're up to 6 views, 6 viewers watching. So that's a good thing. That's right where we've been the last 3 weeks. So I appreciate that. But I also appreciate, the fact that I'm closer to the camera. I'm not further away from the camera. You are able to see this shirt and you want to know what's going on with the shirt. So I appreciate that. And, we still have a few minutes before my boy Sean links up. Hopefully it's going to be real soon because that's going to be the guest for tonight. It'll be my homeboy Rashawn, who I guess you can say he'll be our baseball insider or our Cleveland Cavaliers insider. I'm sure wherever LeBron James go, he'll follow. He's a fanboy just like my homeboy Antonio. Wherever LeBron James go, that's where they end up. So we'll give him a few minutes to jump into the hangouts. And if not, we'll proceed. But while we wait for him, I'm going to go to beer number 3 of tonight from Off Color Brewing. They got cool logos on their beer, man. I really like that. Really like that. I'm going to make sure I pour this one slow because I just pulled this one out of the freezer. And I don't want too much head laying around like that other one. But I've stepped up a little bit because the first 2, they were light, golden. And this here is dark. Bottleware from Tappet Brewing in San Luis Obispo. If you've ever been out to the Central California, the coast, they have good beer. Just got this glassware from them. And you can smell that honey too. Let me see if I can taste those oats. That's good. That's real good. That is real good. Real good. Okay, so we'll wait until Sean link up into the hangout. Hopefully he does. If not, I've been solo. Last week I was solo, and I can do it again solo this week. So for me, like I said, it's off the top of the dome. How do I feel? Honestly, I mean, I can't say I really feel torn or broken because I'm not a diehard Oklahoma City fan. It's just the team that I picked. I picked them early in the season, and the only reason why Sean is on tonight, this tonight, and this week he'll be on helping me out is because we talked early in the season. We were having this conversation, and he sent me a text message with the odds of who's going to be there, who's going to win it. And we're talking and talking and talking and talking, and he asked me, so who you got? I thought, at first I was like, well, I think there's going to be a rematch. I think Cleveland will get there, they'll be healthy. Golden State will get there, and that'll be a rematch. But honestly, if I had to pick two teams to be in the NBA Finals, it would be OKC. And obviously, we all knew that the Cavs were going to come out. So, I'm giving him this, boo, 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 boo. I'm not necessarily answering the question, but I'm giving him answers. And he was like, okay, who do you have? And I was like, all right, OKC versus the Cavs. Final answer. Um, and after we had that conversation, I don't always sports bet, but, I decided to, what? Let me take $100. Had a spare $100 that month. Let me take $100. Let me drop it down on OKC. Future bet, $1,200 payout. So I get my 100 plus $1,200 back. Boom. I didn't think that I would come this close to having a team that I picked last year, 2015 was early October. I didn't think I would get that close. So um, obviously, it's a gamble. It's a gamble that I will not take again. Leave that up to the pros. I'm not going to throw away $100. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm complaining now because I lost, but if I wouldn't have lost, I'll be sitting here happy go lucky, just like everyone else who picked Oklahoma City to win. But I guess, if Sean jumps in, we'll jump in, but we'll go ahead and get to the Western Conference Finals. I was at a barbecue for the first, I guess you can say, 15 minutes. So when I got to the house, it was, I want to say, about 6, 7 minutes left in the second quarter. And, I saw two teams still battling it out. The Thunder were up. At one point, it was like, I guess you can say it was like a 13-point lead. Then Klay Thompson came down, hit 2 threes, went from a 13-point or at least a 10 to 13-point lead to a 4 to 6 point lead. And the Thunder went into halftime with the lead. So, I felt comfortable. I cooked up some stuff, got me a little snack, had a nice brew from Off Color, relaxing, sitting there chilling. And, about halfway through the third quarter, things started to get out of hand. And what I mean by things started to get out of hand, if you look at the box score in the third quarter, the score was 29-12. So the Thunder got outscored by 17 points. So they didn't have a great third quarter at all. And that was, at least from what I was watching, it was more of, I don't want to say being careless with the ball, but it was more those situations where they knew their back was against the wall. So they had to go and do any and everything they could do to get their backs off the wall. But at the same time, while they were doing that, not focusing on doing the things that they did to go up 3-1, Golden State was just hitting daggers. When I mean hitting daggers, they were knocking down shots that they always make, shots that they're capable of making, shots that may be bad shots for anyone outside of a Golden State uniform, but it's great shots for them. And I mean, they couldn't be stopped. So that was the turning point for me, the fact that they were outscored in the third quarter, because they came into the third quarter with the lead and they were outscored. Now, if they were outscored by 4 or 5 points, no big deal. But the fact they were outscored by 17 points, that's a big deal, because you leave those 17 points on the table. And leaving those 17 points on the table is not a great thing, especially when you only score 12. So, I mean, if you were up by 10 points going into the third quarter, then it wouldn't have been a big thing. But they were only up by 4 or 5 points. So they're up by 10. They left 7 points on the table. Then, they'd be down by 7 points throughout that game. That's not bad. But they left 17 points on the table. That was a bad thing to me. And then you could see the cohesiveness between them started to fall apart. It was a lot of pointing fingers. Durant pointing fingers at other players, Westbrook pointing fingers at other players, Westbrook coming down, not being sure of what he wanted to do with the ball, probably playing hero ball, like Chuck has said, like Reggie Miller has said, Chris Webber has said, all these guys have said hero ball, playing hero ball and not playing that team ball that they're not, I don't want to say they're not capable of doing it, but they haven't shown signs of being capable of playing team ball, more hero ball, more, it's your turn, you do what you need to do. It's my turn, I'll do what I need to do. So that third quarter to me, I think is 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 what kind of flipped the game from the Thunder being in a position to go ahead and carry out a victory to the Warriors being in a position to carry out a victory, because the fact that they came out guns blazing, making every basket that they took, just about making every basket that they took, and not being afraid, getting a home crowd in the mix with them, is the reason that the tables turned. And for the Thunder, it wasn't a great thing, like I said, because they left so many points on the table, and all those points that they left on the table, the Warriors, they picked those up. So I mean, it was tough, and that third quarter was the turning point. Now the fourth quarter, they tried their best to come back into the mix. They tried their best to pick themselves up. They tried their best to play a little bit more defense, get out there, challenge some shots, get through their offense, do all the things that they're capable of doing. But things just didn't click. And for me, watching the game was just seeing Klay Thompson come down, make a bucket. Iguodala make a bucket. Draymond Green made a couple buckets. They went on a run, and I guess you can say at one point it was like a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter, and it was early in the fourth quarter, and the Thunder would cut it down, but they couldn't necessarily get to that point where, you know what, you know, we can cut it down 4, 5, 6, 7 points. Let's play some tough defense. Let's get back in the mix. I mean, I think the closest they had, it was a 3 possession game. And then after they had a blown turnover, you had Steph Curry boogie on Steven Adams and knock down a triple. So it became tough for the Thunder, for the simple fact they're not used to, and they don't show consistency as playing as a team. It's more of the hero ball mentality. And did I know this back in September, early October? Sort of, kind of, yes. But I thought, and just like they were able to play when they were up 3-1, I thought Billy Donovan would get those boys into shape. And I kind of think maybe he did get those boys into shape throughout midway through the third quarter when they left all those points on the table. He may have gotten them into shape, but you're still dealing with personalities of Westbrook and KD turning into these players that you don't necessarily want them to be late in the game. Now, I can't say they blew game 7 like they blew game 6. They didn't have a lot of hiccups in game 7 like they had in game 6. But one thing they couldn't do is stop Golden State from scoring. And one thing they couldn't stop as a team, the Thunder, was going on a run to get the crowd out of it. So, we've all played in sporting events. And if you haven't, you've watched a lot, to where if you get your teammates going or your teammates get you going and then the crowd gets going, if you're the opposing team, it's hard for you to stop the players, one. Now, if you can stop the players, it's hard for you to stop the crowd because you're outnumbered. So it got to the point where the Thunder were seriously outnumbered. They couldn't do anything. You know, they could score. Golden State will come back down and hit a triple. They get going a 4 or 5 point run. Golden State will come back down, hit 2 triples, get a layup. They couldn't stop or counter anything Golden State was doing. And the scoring is one thing, but good coaching by Steve Kerr led the Golden State Warriors to go out there and put themselves in that position. So for me, like I said, I mean, most of us watched the game. I can't tell you anything new because I was a fan just like you. But that's why I said my heart is heavy, because coming into this segment of the show, you know, earlier when I was playing, I guess you can say last week when I was planning on, how am I going to attack this? On last Thursday, I wrote up, okay, this outcome. And then on Saturday, I wrote up this outcome. And none of it really made sense because my heart was sold on coming into this podcast tonight, totally forgetting about a script and talking about I told you so, everybody. I was right. Y'all was wrong. I'm about to get paid because the Thunder are 4 games away from winning the 2016 NBA Finals championship. I'm going to get paid. Kevin Durant is going to stay in OKC. Westbrook is going to stay in OKC. Billy Donovan is the man. OKC is the place to be. End of story. Let's get ready for the 2016 2017 NBA season. But now I'm stuck here just wondering, like, um, OKC is a great team. Um, yes, they can use some secondary scoring on their bench. Um, they could use a backup point guard that can come in and help Westbrook out when he's erratic and he's doing all these weird things that you don't want him to do. They have the coaching. They have KD. They have the makeup of a great team, and I'm not making any excuses, but they're missing something. And to pinpoint what they're missing, it's a number of things, but for me, it's they need to find a way to always, and when I say always, I mean always play as a team. Always play as a team. They need to forget about this whole hero ball thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, they need to step up. And when I say step up, as in they, I mean Dion Waiters, he need to step up. Robertson or Roberson, however you want to pronounce his name, he need to step up because he had amazing. I want to say in this 7 game series, he had 2 or 3 games where he was lights out. And one of those games, I want to go back to the day that or the night that the Thunder went up 3-1. He had an amazing game. Why? Because they left him open. He was confident in his shot. He knocked down his shots. Game 5, we didn't see that. Game 6, I didn't watch the game, but a lot of people told me he didn't step up. And then tonight, they gave him buckets where he was wide open, where the Thunder needed him to take a shot. They needed him to score, and he was a dud. Ibaka. How do we get Ibaka to play like Ibaka played 2, 3 years ago? I mean, he's really sketchy. It's like when before Scott Brooks left and they wanted to make him an outside shooter. When I mean outside shooter, he takes, in my opinion, I think he takes majority of his shots 15 to 17 feet away from the rim. Before, he was a legitimate post guy. He scored in the paint, he cleaned up, he rebounded, he defended. Now you got him shooting jump shots, taking threes, which isn't bad, but that's getting away from what made them that team to reckon with in 2012 when they went to the NBA Finals. Now, granted, they had James Harden on that team, and he was that 6th man to come off the bench, but that's something that they need on that team. They need a 6th man to come off the bench that can score. He probably can defend. If he can defend, that's a plus. But they need scoring on days where Westbrook is off, KD is on. We need that 6th man on the bench. Westbrook is on, KD is off. We need that 6th man off the bench to score. Both of them are on, but still, we're playing against a Golden State team who, no matter what, we can score 10 straight and they can follow that up with 15 points straight. We need that 6th man off the bench who can go out there and get us some buckets. And they have a good team. They don't have a great team. So for me, I was leaning more on the fact that the Thunder have 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. So 2 of the top 5, 2 of the top 5, not 1, 2. There's only, in my eyes, one team that has 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. That right there, I mean, that's scary. And that right there would lead you to believe that, you know what? Maybe we don't need a 6 man. Maybe we don't need Ibaka to go out there and give us 15 and 10 a night. Maybe we don't need Robertson to knock down those wide open jump shots. Maybe we don't need Dion Waiters to go out there and play some okay defense, but give us 8 to 9 points a game. Maybe we don't always need Cantor, but we can use him on the defensive end. Maybe we don't need Steven Adams each night, but we can use him on the defensive end. Those are the questions that you ask yourself, and those are the questions that I thought in my head, you know what? They don't have the best roster, but they have 2 of the best 5 players in the NBA. That's a lot in my eyes. And It came down to that not being a lot because on the opposite side of the court, you have Steph Curry, you have Klay Thompson, you have Draymond Green. That's a lot right there. You got Iggy, you got Sean Livingston. That's a lot. Verajal played great tonight. And when they would give him minutes, he would play great. Not always on the offensive end, but he gave you a lot of defense in those 2 to 3 minute spurts where Spates or Ezeli was out. You have Harrison Barnes, which is a guy I think will be in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform. So for me, all credit to Golden State Warriors and a lot of credit to the Thunder because a lot of people didn't have them in the position that I had them in. A lot of people thought it was going to be a San Antonio Spurs, Golden State Warriors, Western Conference Finals. A lot of people didn't think the Thunder would be able to go up 3-1. A lot of people didn't think Golden State would come back being down 3-1. But Golden State shocked us and really shocked me. Like I said, I don't have a problem with Golden State. I don't dislike them. I don't love them. They're just a team in the NBA. I guess you can say I have somewhat affiliation with Golden State because I know a lot about Saginaw, Michigan. Lived there, from there, love the city, still have family there. That boy Draymond Green is from Saginaw. Saw him play when he was on AAU teams in high school and all this good stuff. Rooted against him at Michigan State since I'm a big Michigan fan, but Golden State did what they had to do. And when you're the defending champs, when you win 73 games in a season, when you can shoot lights out from deep, when your coach has 5 of them championships as a player, 1 championship as a coach in quest for number 2, I mean, you guys have a lot to fall back on, and it's that experience factor. And although the Thunder have been to the NBA Finals and they have 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA, they were lacking something. And I can't necessarily pinpoint what it is because I wouldn't say they were lacking anything had they won this game and they were moving on to the NBA Finals. But they need to, they need to find out what it is, how to fix it, so they can keep that team together. And I mean, they're special. I think they're a special team. And I don't think Kevin Durant should get up and run to any other team. It's a lot of great things that can be done with that roster. And Billy Donovan have shown that he's a great coach. So if KD, Westbrook, and the rest of those guys can buy into the hype and they can go out and spend some money, I don't necessarily know their cap situation just now, but it's something that I'm going to research because although the NBA finals are amongst us, here on Thursday, everyone, or let's just say the talk, is going to be probably number one, Kevin Durant and his future, NBA finals. Kevin Durant and his future is going to semi outweigh what's going on with the NBA finals. Now, obviously, when the NBA finals kick off, Kevin Durant is going to fall below that, and it's going to be about LeBron James versus Steph Curry rematch. Cavs not being healthy last season, being healthy this season, the Christmas game, and the game after the Christmas game. It's going to be surrounded by all those things. So, for me, like I said, the only thing I can take from this game is my expectations was really high, really high. They're still high. They're still high because I'm looking forward to a great NBA Finals, but I'm starting to come down a little bit because what I expected and what I wanted and what I predicted last year, the opportunity for that to happen was today. It should have been on. It should have been game 5. But obviously we knew we knew that the Warriors were going to win that game. But game 6, it should have happened and it didn't. So with that being said, congrats to the Golden State Warriors. I mean, that's why they're defending champs won. That's why they won 73 games. That's why they have back-to-back unanimous MVP. So hats off to them. Cheers to them. And I'm looking forward to great NBA finals. Who am I going to pick? I don't know. I don't know. It kicks off on Thursday, live from the Bay Area. Format 22111. I honestly like the format when it was 2-3-2, but the 22111 format is great because you get that vibe and that feel of that back and forth sway. So it should be a great one. I haven't made my mind up on who I'm going to pick because I want to read into it a little more. I want to read some of the stories that the professionals are going to put out there for us to read. I want to watch a few shows. I want to look at some information, coaches' notes, and all this thing to see what kind of angle each coach is going to go or take to put themselves in a position to hold that trophy up mid-June. So, expect something from me throughout the week, for sure before Thursday, before tip off, whether that be via Twitter or Tumblr or on our Google Plus profile. Expect something. Rematches are always great, and the only reason why I say that because the opponents they somewhat know what to expect from the opponent, so that's why rematches are great. And I was really looking forward to see that OKC versus LeBron James rematch because obviously LeBron James is with the Miami Heat when OKC faced them in the finals. But this rematch between Golden State, especially them coming off this is historic season. Steph Curry playing lights out, Curry coaching his rear off, everyone else in those jerseys from Clay to Draymond to Iggy to Andrew Bogus, Sean Livingston, Spates, Ezeli, Harrison Barnes, all those guys. They all have something to bring to the table. And I'm just looking forward to see how LeBron James is going to rally his troops together to make something happen. So my body, well, first, my mind. My mind is telling me to lean towards the defending champs. Why? Because they're defending champs and they've done a lot um, to make you change your mind about who you want to pick. If I can go back and do it all over based on what happened tonight, I think I would have put my money on the Cleveland Cavaliers to get to the Eastern Conference Finals because that would have been a safe bet. It wouldn't have paid me a lot of money, but I would have got my money back. Can't talk about getting my money back because my money is gone now. So my mind is telling me, you know what, roll with the champs. But my body is telling me LeBron James doesn't want another L in his NBA Finals column. So with that being said, let the countdown begin. And as for next week, my boy Jared will be back. He'll be back, um, and we'll kick it off. By that time, we've been able to watch two games in the NBA Finals. We kick off Thursday, game one. Game two is going to be Sunday. So when we broadcast our show live next week together, we'd have been able to watch two games. And like I said, by Thursday tip off, you will have my pick. You will see my pick. You will see Jared's pick. So that's a good thing. And, hopefully we're opposite. So, what I'm saying, we can have something truly to talk about and to debate about a few things. Beer for next week. If you've ever been to San Diego, you've probably been down to the little beautiful little island. I don't necessarily want to call it an island, but it's like tip of the city on the bay, Coronado Brewing in San Diego. We're going to have their stupid stout. We're going to have their easy up. So if you can go to your bottle shop and you can pick up those two, we really appreciate it. Not because you're supporting the brewing company, but you're supporting us because you get to drink with us. Cheers. Topics. Topics obviously is going to be over the NBA Finals, duh. And then we're going to dip and dabble into the NHL Stanley Cup. And you're probably scratching your head like, huh? Stanley Cups? Well, we talk about anything. We talk about all things sports. But why the NHL Stanley Cup is great is because a few weeks ago we had a conversation on the San Jose Sharks in relation to the Sacramento Kings, in relation to choking. So, with that being said, that's why we're going to cover the NHL Stanley Cup finals. So, it's going to be great, and obviously, from now until the finals start, the big talk is going to be Kevin Durant and OKC. We're going to save that for our sake. We're going to save that until after the finals, because Kevin Durant and OKC, that was a big thing 2 months ago when everyone thought that Kevin Durant was going to be in Golden State and the playoffs haven't even started. And then information and conversation surfaced around Kevin Durant is going to San Antonio. And before the season started, Kevin Durant is going back to home to play for the Wizards. So all this stuff in the mix. Kevin Durant, Los Angeles Lakers. So for me, I'll let the pros and all those big wigs handle what's going to happen with Kevin Durant. But for us, we're going to mainly focus on the NBA Finals, the matchup between the Golden State Warriors, aka the defending champs, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at CJ Sports Beer Pod. That's CJ Sports Beer Pod. You can also follow us both on Tumblr. We're starting to get into the habit of sharing stories, sharing links on sports stories you can read, information on beer, whether it's from us or from some website that you may not know of, but if you follow us on Tumblr, you'll know of that website by just clicking on the link. So we're I guess you can say the middleman between the big story, or we are the story. So if you want to follow us on Tumblr to see what we have going on, check out our latest blog post. That's www.sportsandbeerpodcast.tumblr.com. Follow us. You can always subscribe to our YouTube channel, C&J Sports and Beer Podcast, or it may just ring up as Sports and Beer Podcast, or our Google Plus page for our past, current, and future videos that we will record live. So with that being said, that's the end of the show. Solo show by myself, but for sure, next Monday, my boy Jared will be back. We'll be doing this together. We hope you guys continue to be with us. So with that being said, thank you. Cheers again, all the way from Chicago, Illinois. And this is the Scurry beer brewed with honey, molasses, and oats. 5.3 ABV, 18 ABUs. For a light beer, it's pretty dark. It has a great nose on it. It smells wonderful. And it has a great taste. I'm going to send you guys off with some music from a local artist. His name is Vinny Dwayne. You can go on SoundCloud and you can find all things Vinny Dwayne. And again, if you want to get in with secret level clothing, be sure to check my boy Randy out on Instagram, Haiku Wear, at Haiku Wear on Instagram, or on Facebook. Search for Secret Level Clothing. And I appreciate y'all's support. You guys have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Have a great week. Remember, tomorrow's Tuesday. It's not Monday. That's a short week. Your weekend may be a little shorter, though. I'm not sure how that worked with you guys, but that's how it works with me. Have a good night, man. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys to the fullest.
As the late night turn to AM, and I'm hopping out my nigga Roger Benz. Niggas ain't seen me in the town for a minute, now I'm back, nigga, guard up your bitch. Niggas gon' hate when I ball up they fist, cause I do not miss when I'm all on they miss. I'm just a young nigga trying to get rich. This beat out the Wayne and this drink stay lit. I'm coming from the north where the sticks are short. The kids is lost, the whole picture's off. We ain't got no frame, you can't Photoshop us. We just out here hanging on a different wall. I'm pushing hard, running over that hump. Where I wanna be ain't where I was last month. What I wanna see ain't been seen in my hood. Pull my niggas in the yacht, God know he been sung. It's hard for us to breathe in the deep end. Lighting up trees is a defense. We blocking out life as a creep in with that bullshit. And niggas want a reason to squeeze that full clip. We all need space. Niggas can't find me, I stay out the way. Stay off my block if you come on my block with no protection. And that's like letting your iPhone stay out the case. Don't break. I broke out the hood with a case, a court date. I beat trails, you know the system wanna keep a nigga in his place. And hit you with a warning if you show up late. I ain't got time dealing with a judge, cause if you ain't got it, it ain't love. I gotta keep working hard when the pain come. Even when I'm at a state, I never change up. But on God, it ain't easy making that move. It ain't easy taking that trip. It ain't easy making that work. It ain't easy making that flip. But it's easy making your town see you when them niggas hate like this. It's easy making they town see you when them niggas hate like this. It ain't easy making that move. It ain't easy taking that trip.